Chaper me up inside.
I see you, little mouse. You don't belong here. Run along.
This is fire beam thing? No. Yeah, it is. The
Turn
beam
back,
lady.
trespasser. Cease this madness.
Demi, hello.
My damage is not very good.
Things you do not understand.
Should be able to one-shot those, not three-shot.
I have nothing more to give.
Be alright. Just gonna be a little bit slower than I think, or than I would like.
You are being selfish. Your recklessness will not go unpunished.
He cat jumped on you, you died. Great job.
This is your final order. Leave. You force my hand again, little mouse. So be it. You've chosen to side with chaos. This is my world, and you shall obey my order. Embraced by misery.
We need to close.
I think we'll be alright.
Insignificant.
He's recovering. We need to find a way back quickly.
Make sure we get 2 War Chief stacks and then we're good to go. Try to leave a bunch for flash charges in a sec. My Whirling Blades kills mobs, so I think this is fine. Let's not tank that. There's 1 War Chief. 2. Good to go.
Behold the face of your unmaking.
Father, it's me. Let me help you.
The horror must be stopped. Obstacles destroyed.
To me, Exile, quickly.
Don't do it. Oh, that's rude.
Insignificant.
Be good.
He's trying to recover. Hurry. Let's find a way back.
Let's get our War Chiefs. So we can burst down this asshole of an unshaped boss. I hate this one. This one's like scarier to me than Shaper is. We're good. Let me get my charges back. Holy shit, a wild Bobby Gaggis. Hey man, how you been? Yeah, the shotgun on that boss is terrifying. But if you burst it correctly, it's not a big deal. Anything's possible if you believe in yourself.
Lie to you, Father. I'm your true memory.
Minecraft, yeah.
The past must be sacrificed.
They're coming through.
Sounds about right. Oh, wait, shit, I didn't see he was going to the slam. That's cheating, man. You can't slam and beam at the same time. I couldn't see it. The macro command has all of my add-ons.
Gaze into the abyss.
Fucking gloves, man. Garbage. What's up, YouTube and Twitch? Demi here with a live build guide. I just did Shaper, got my Elder Orb, Deathless. Pretty easy run. So this is a SCION Blade Flurry REAVE character. I went for Inquisitor and Slayer. Slayer for the Culling Strike, the Leech not removed at full life mods. Immunity to Fizz Reflect is kind of nice. And then I went Inquisitor for crit multi against enemies that are affected by ailments. Because we're crit, everything's always affected by ailments. Free multi. We get Ellie Pen. Get Consecrated Ground when you hit a rare unique enemy. Immunity to elemental ailments while on Consecrated Ground, so I'm basically immune whenever I'm fighting bosses. And then I have enemies take increased elemental damage around me, which is just a more multiplier to our overall damage, and I'm like 90% converted to Ellie, so it's a lot of extra deeps. Then I have Path of the Templar, so I can allocate from Templar's starting points. So that just gives me some ints. How did I level this? I don't even remember. I think I leveled this as Lightning Trap, so I won't be able to do a leveling tree, really. Let's see. I can try to recommend a route. If you're leveling this, I'd go through here, come down here, grab all this dual wield stuff. Some leech. And what else can you grab on the way? These nodes, probably. The sword nodes. What level that put you at? Probably like 50s. After that, you'll have Cruel and Normal Lab. You need to do at least 2 labs before you can grab the Templar stuff. So grab 1, 2, 3, and then I guess go 4 or 5. So after your Merc Lab, you can do this. Then you'll fill out all this section of the tree. Get a bunch of life and stuff. Ellie damage, Ellie pen, more life, all the melee crit multi nodes, which are insanely powerful for this character. And then you just kind of fill out whatever you want after that. Go for Phase Acro, Heartseeker, Jewel Sockets, conversion here is 40% conversion, and then some more life nodes up here. I have really bad accuracy gear, so I had to take these 2 nodes and these 2 nodes for accuracy, stuff like that. But you don't usually need them. If you have good accuracy rolls on your gear, you'll be fine. As for Jewel Sockets, in your belt, you go for some sort of Onslaught, Unholy Might if possible. Those are both really nice for mapping. For single target, you're going to want like Flat Fizz to swords, Flat Fizz to attacks, attack speed if you dealt a crit recently, crit multi, damage penetrate resistance if you haven't killed recently for boss fights. And then life is always great as well. And then for rare jewels, you can go for things like, let's see if I can name literally everything that scales this. You want to prioritize crit multi. So melee crit multi, global crit multi with dual wielding, crit multi crit multi with swords, melee crit, global crit, dual wielding swords, crit multi with one-handed weapons. After that, you go for like attack speed with one-handed, attack speed with swords, attack speed while dual wielding, attack speed, attack and cast speed, damage, area damage, melee damage, damage with swords, damage while dual wielding, stuff like that, right? Go for multi first, and then you can also get life on top if you want. So this one's double multi, attack speed while dual wielding. This one's attack speed, double multi. And this one, I think I needed some more. Yeah, this is my other abyssal jewel. So I have pen, attack speed if I've dealt a crit recently, and life. And then this one's life, double onslaught. Or sorry, life onslaught on Holy Might. Pretty simple stuff. As for the gear itself, main hand, the way that Blade Flurry REAVE works, both of them only attack with the main hand if you are using, like, how do I explain this? This is a concept called stat sticking. Your offhand is a stat stick, so you get a bunch of extra damage. This is like the equivalent of having 2.5 hatreds equipped in my offhand with some pen and multi. It's pretty nice. But because we're using a scepter in our offhand, Blade Flurry can only be used with daggers, claws, or one-handed swords. I have a sword. It'll only attack with this, it'll never use this, so this is just there to give us stats, hence stat stick, right? Makes sense? Reave is the same way. If you have a scepter in your offhand, it can't use it. So yeah, main hand, highest PDPS you can get on a sword, if possible. We went swords here, so go for a sword. This is about 345 PDPS. I made this myself with some fossils. I used jagged and corroded in 2-socket resonators and just spam those. Offhand, stat stick. Get as many Fizz as extra mods as you can. To start out with, go with a single modded one. Any scepter or axe with just a single Fizz as extra mod will start you out. And then go for another one. Go for higher tiers. Go for 3. Go for 4. I think the most you can get is 4 mods plus LE pen plus crit multi would be perfect. But this is like a middle high tier one. The most you can get I think is 140% extra damage. This is about 80-ish with multi. Boots, I have Calm's Roots. Cannot be slowed below base speed, cannot be stunned. And lots of life. It's kind of nice. Helmet, life resist, stats if you need them. Gloves, life resist, attack speed, extra damage to attacks is always great. Go for Fizz if you can. Anywhere you can get flat damage, go for Fizz. It's just the most efficient. And then I have Steel Rings. Again, lots of flat Fizz, life resist, flat Fizz, life resist. This one's got a bit of accuracy and multi on it. It was essence crafted. It's cool. It's decent, right? And then Amulet, you want a Shaper Amulet because you can get more stat stick mods. You can get Fizz's extra cold, Fizz's extra lightning, LE pen, crit multi, crit strike chance, Fizz to attacks, wed, life, any of those things that you want. And then chest piece, I have a belly. You could go Lore Weave, you could go Carcass Jack, you could go with an Elder Rare with base crit to attacks. You could do anything here basically. They all work. And then belt, you go for a Stygian Vise because that jewel socket's OP. Get life resist and wed if possible. Enchantments, if you have gloves that can be enchanted, go for Commandment of Fury or any of Fury. It throws out your weapon, does a lot of damage. Boot enchant, I have attack and cast speed for mapping. For boss fighting, I'd probably go damage penetrates resistances if you haven't killed recently, or if you want to go for the leech mod for mapping, that works too. Helm enchant, Blade Flurry damage or Reave damage, whichever you prefer. For single target, go Blade Flurry. What's next? Gem links. So main links for Blade Flurry, we've got Blade Flurry. I'll try to do this in order of operations. Blade Flurry, Fizz to Lightning, Melee Fizz, Elemental damage with attacks, and then Conk Effect / AoE for mapping and MAME support, which I need of all. Lost damage there, great job. Alright, and if you want to use Reave, what you do is you just swap out Blade Flurry for Reave, MAME for Multi-Strike, and then it's the same links otherwise. So in order of priority for Reave, it would be Reave, Multi-Strike, and then Fizz to Lightning, Melee Fizz, Elemental damage with attacks, and then increased AoE / Conk Effect for bossing. Same thing. Where's my Reave? And then, let's see, Aura setups. I have a Herald of Ice linked to Curse on Hit Assassin's Mark, so anytime I crit shatter an enemy and it dies, the explosion from Herald of Ice applies the curse here, so I get power charges from that. I get life and mana when killed. They take extra damage from crits. It's just good. It's just my power charge generation, basically. And then other auras, I'm using a Herald of Ash. Gives me a bunch of Fizz's extra fire, and then overkill damage kills enemies around it. Then I'm using a Herald of Purity, which gives me flat Fizz to attacks, along with some Sentinels that act as great distractions, or they get you killed because enemies chain off of them sometimes. It's fine. Movement skill, I have Whirling Blades, Faster Attacks, Fortify. Fortify gives you, when you hit things with Whirling Blades, you get 20% less damage taken from hits. It's just a good defensive buff, and it lets you move quickly without having to worry about movement speed, because we don't have any on our boots. That's also linked to Herald of Purity, so it happens to get Purity. The minions on Herald of Purity gain Fortify and Faster Attacks. Kind of a little side bonus, it's just nice. What's it we got? Caster damage taken, linked to Immortal Call for that Fizz immunity spike for a second-ish. And then we got it linked to Ice Golem as well. Ice Golem gives us accuracy and crit. My accuracy is fucking terrible. It's like 80%, I think, something like that. 84%, which is really bad, actually. It should be closer to 90, ideally. 90 to 95. 84 is bad. Then I have this linked, or not linked to Blood Rage. It's a self-cast Blood Rage. Blood Rage gives us attack speed, and it gives us Frenzy Charge on kill, which is a lot of extra damage and clear speed. And then other random links, we have a War Chief, which happens to be linked to added fire damage, which is in my weapon, but it's not really important. It's basically just there for the Vol War Chief memes on bosses. And then I got a random portal, because I'm lazy and I don't feel like self-casting, or using portal scrolls, whatever. Pantheons, I have Solo Solaris. with Shadow of the Vaal and Jorah's Sky's Edge, so I don't take extra damage from crits if they've crit me recently. Really good for running crit maps, and then the chance to take less damage from hits is kind of nice. And then I have Soul of Growthcool for fizz damage mitigation for each hit I've taken recently, and enemies that hit me get slowed. You could also alternatively go for Soul of Arakali and take the Arachnoxia mod for increased recovery rate of life and energy shield if you stop taking dot recently. Because I'm using Blood Rage, which is a constant physical degen, anytime I proc my cast when damage taken Immortal Call, I'm immune to that fizz degen for like a little bit, which procs that 50% increased recovery rate, which means that I leech that much faster. This character is Vol-packed, and I have Vitality Void, so I get about 50% of my life leech per second normally. If that mod procs, my Pantheon procs, it goes up to 75% of my life leech per second, which is a nice defensive boost. Is there anything else I need to talk about? Flasks. Because I'm Inquisitor, again, I get that immunity to elemental ailments while on consecrated ground. I am carrying a consecrated ground flask. The AoE is pretty small on it, so you basically need to use it when you're not moving. But I have that on a remove bleed flask, and then I have a freeze diamond flask and a curse basalt flask. Diamond flask lets you roll your crits twice. It's lucky, so you take the higher roll between the two. It's just nice. You can like alternate bleed, freeze, and curse on any of these three. It doesn't matter. As long as you make sure you get at least 23% reduced charge use on Basalt Flask, you'll have 2 uses out of it instead of just the 1, which is important for like boss fighting. And then otherwise, I have a Wise Oak and an Edziri's Promise. Edziri's Promise is a stat stick with chaos damage, basically. Same as mod as this, but it's chaos damage. And then I have a Wise Oak, because I happen to have perfect Wise Oak resist. So the way Wise Oak works is, it looks at your uncapped resistance, which is the numbers in parentheses. The lowest ones you take 10% less damage of. Since they're all the same, I take 10% less fire, cold, lightning damage, and they take they give you penetration for the higher ones. Again, all 3 of them are the same, so I get 15% pen all across the board, which is pretty nice. 29% global pen. If you don't want to use this and like fuck with your resistances for 5 hours, just use a Lion's Roar. It'll give you more damage. Same thing. You can also use a Taste of Hate instead of a Sulfur Flask if you want it, for that extra cold damage and extra fizz mitigation. But I didn't want to spend another 2.5x on a Taste of Hate, so whatever. But yeah, I think that's everything. Right? Did I miss anything? I don't think so. Hooray, we did it! So hopefully you enjoyed this build. I'm using it to kill... I'm delving down to like depth past 200 right now. That's as far as I've been. I killed all the Guardians, Shaper, Red Elder. Like, it's a good build. It's got infinite room to min-max because obviously you can like get a 700 DPS sword, 140% extra damage, double fizz, crit, multi, pen, accuracy, amulet. Like you can get an insane amount of gear for this to make it pretty fucking OP, right? This is like, I would say, middle tier of what this build's potential is. I think I have about 2.5 million DPS or so with fully buffed and Conk Effect Blade Flurry, which you can get probably 15 to 20 mil if you try. But yeah, I think that'll do it for the build video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Yeet.